Rick Rubin's a fucking vulture. Like he grabs Johnny Cash before he's about to croak and then squeezes the last bit of fucking life out of him, grabs Lou Reed before he's about to croak and squeezes the last bit of juice out of that fucking lemon. We all sit here like, what a brilliant man. No, he's an exploitative fuck.
Are you saying that him and Jamie Josta are having a vulture fight right now over D. Snyder? It's like, no, it's mine. And like D. Snyder's like, they're tearing me apart. Like,
no, I think that D. Snyder got rejected by Rick Rubin.
Oh, come on. Listen, all right, folks, I'm a fan of D. Snyder and Jamie Josta.
I'm going on record as a fan of both.
What did you say? Your quote was that they're reanimating a corpse?
It's Weekend at Bernie's, the album. It's two guys propping up a dead guy.
Well, that's not mean at all. I'm glad that it's not. Come on, let an old man have a good time. When I'm about to die, you're going to be helping me do my farewell album like I'm Christopher Lee.
That's right.
And it's going to be horrible, and everyone's going to go, oh, he tried.
Kanye the lyrics this time, which is something I don't.
What does that mean?
I just went in and I knew what I wanted it to be about, but I didn't do the normal Axeslasher thing, which is like try to think of the characters and their perspectives and like can I do a verse from this character's perspective and a verse from this character's perspective. I just kind of went at it and did it a bunch of times until something started to like make sense, and then I would refine that into the actual verse.
I actually had no idea you were that theatrical. Even I don't approach shit from character.
To me, that's a continuation of the movie theme, is like, can I approach the narratives of the songs the same way that you would a movie? So like, In the Woods, There Is No Law, the first verse of that is from the perspective of some kids who are partying out in the woods. Right. And their whole thing gets broken up. And the second verse is from the perspective of the cops that are chasing them down. So like the kids end up like going into this kind of haunted area of the woods that like they know about, because kids always know about that shit, right? Like any high school student here is going to know where the creepy house is that everyone has like a story about, and it's like a rite of passage to go to. So that was the idea, is that they would beeline it for that, hide in it, and then the cops would show up, and that would trigger the Axeslasher to show up and kill everyone.
Well, this gives me much more perspective on your the Drifter song, which I was obsessed with.
You're one of the only people that recognize that as like an untapped horror trope that hasn't been written about yet.
Well, I love that you're actually attacking these very specific, I don't know, like most people write, like even Chuck Schuldiner wrote songs like, I'm watching a horror movie. Right now there's a horror movie on TV and I'm watching it and it's about the Evil Dead.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead. But no, you're like, no, this is a new horror movie, but it's just this song.
Yes.
And here's the plot.
And I've got a weird concept album worked out where I like decide beforehand what the first like 12 best 10 tropes of a horror movie to me, right? And then make each song a representation of that trope. So like a couple of song titles for that would be Opening Kill. That would be the first fucking overture.
I love that. You're getting somewhat meta with the concept. Also breaking the fourth wall on thrash metal a little bit with your live show. Playing different characters, but you're kind of the Rod Serling. You're describing the scenario. You're the director.
Yes.
So I think maybe that's an interesting way to maybe approach music, where you're like Fulci or something, and it's like
Justin Lascelle's Axeslasher.
Yes, with you got the typeface all picked out.
Yeah, it's already in the works.
It's custom.
Yes,
but yeah, exactly. How great! Because John Carpenter, he was a nobody, and he said, "Guess what? No, this isn't Halloween. This is John Carpenter's Halloween."
Yeah.
Who the fuck was he?
Yeah,
he was nobody. But guess who he is now? He's the guy who is John Carpenter.
Yeah,
with his simple ass soundtracks and shit. How godly are they now?
Which they were worshipped.
They were not respected at all at the time. You know?
So even when you first started like singing the praises of them, and you were doing covers of Big Trouble in Little China and shit like that. Like,
Which I've not released that yet.
oh, well,
maybe
then
I'll
just
play
drop
it.
some secret sauce on the pod audience.
I did a cover of the Coupe de Ville's Big Trouble in Little China, which is really horrible.
But what I'm saying is like this is the eternal Bruss curse, is that you're 5 to 8 years ahead of the world. So it's like you'll put 2 months of effort into a John Carpenter cover, and then no one will hear it, and then 8 years later Perturbator will come out doing a John Carpenter impression and become like the most highest paid person in music.
No, but that's fine.
That's the Bruss curse.
But you know what makes up for that? Because I got to Dr. Dre Axeslasher. So
That's true.
That's going to make up for all that.
That's the way so like the guys who play in Axeslasher now, 2 of them are actually like legit live engineers that have worked at studios and stuff. And I had to literally, like, I just sat down. I was like, this is how it is. I know you guys have experience and whatnot, but Patrick is Dr. Dre in this. He's Dr. Dre in this experiment, so you have to respect it as such. Like, that's just how it's going to be. Like, you could make whatever mix you want, but I'm always going to gravitate towards
Well,
Dre's.
I love you, sir. I love you. But have they had problems with my mixes so far?
No, none at all.
Because if
They're,
they
like,
do,
super excited.
I am willing to address those problems.
No, they're
'Cause
super excited.
Okay, that's great. But I am always looking to learn. That's the whole point. Is the only reason I'm even a somewhat competent mixer at all is because I'm trying to be super humble. I don't think I'm very good at all. So it's like I'm constantly like.
Well, that's how you become
that's-
great.
Exactly.
Is never
Like,
assuming that you're awesome.
I'm starting to think I'm getting okay-ish now.
When I first met you, I had dreams of opening a studio where I would be the fucking business guy and you would run.
You're
you would do the
acting
mixing.
like that's still not gonna happen.
It could happen at some point.
It might happen, folks.
It could happen.
We'll see what the world throws at us. Yeah, because see, folks, right here, if you're listening to this podcast, you're with us on this journey right now.
Yes.
Me and Pizza are just small time fools with a big time dream. We're like Laverne and Shirley.
We're fat fish in tiny puddles.
Schlemazel, schlemazel.
The director thing is actually a recent mindset that I've had on Axeslasher, because like, and it comes in a shift of like my creative thinking in general, where like for the last however many years I've felt like I've had to do everything, and not because I think that like I can't trust people or anything like that, but more because like I'm so enthusiastic about doing anything creative that I just want to be the one to do it.
The song I just wrote,
Which fucking fucks like a motherfucker.
Thank you. It does sound shockingly though at points like an Axeslasher song, and sometimes because we work so closely together, but yet we're working on separate streams, and I think that's really cool because like I never know what you're going to bring. Like I'm so excited to mix some shit from you because I have no idea what it's going to be. That's the treat for me. It's like but when I hear it, I go, oh yeah, that's exactly the riff he would write. Like, but I find it hilarious because you were the guy that brought this to the table. Like, oh yeah, you would write that riff. Every time I'd play you a demo, you'd be like, yeah, that's a Patrick riff. I find that hilarious, but it's true. It's like, and you're the same. You're the same.
I can pick out a Patrick riff in a hot second, and you can pick out a Pizza riff basically as soon as you hear a palm mute.
Well, the riffs you write are like the women you date. It's like, oh yeah, he would like that. Like, yeah, oh he likes small tentacly, and yeah, it's so obvious.
You like what you like.
I love when I get tracks from you, and I go, here we go with some chugga chugga chugga. Here it comes, and but you always find a way to somehow make those 4 notes in a different order. And it's like, he did it again. He took 4 notes, made a whole other thing out of it. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah. The interesting thing about
I love that.
this newest song is that I didn't write any of the riffs in it.
I didn't know that.
None of them.
Are you kidding me?
In fact,
but you did something there. Something there is.
So here, I'll tell you. Here's what happened. Dr. Grind, he start asking me about Easy Drummer and like how to use it and stuff. And I showed him just a quick couple of tricks and stuff. So he went away for a while. He did some Call of the Void stuff. They went on tour, and then he came back.
Dr. Grind does the same thing in Axeslasher as in Call of the Void?
No, he plays bass in Call of the Void, but he
that's
plays
weird.
guitar in Axeslasher.
That's fucking
But he and I
weird.
have been pals forever. Like I was in a band with him called Rabid Barbarian, which was
I remember that.
his Axeslasher, which is he wanted to write some thrash metal, so he put together 7 thrash songs and then got a bunch of his pals to play a couple shows with him. So that's one of the ways we bonded, I guess, musically. But we've always known each other and always hung out in the same scenes and shit. Thank you, sir.
I keep handing him things.
And so, anyway, he's like one of the most enthusiastic members of Axeslasher, I think. He's like super just fucking gung-ho, right? Like the thing about Dr. Grind is that he's like a creative hose that never turns off. You just have to figure out how to like aim him correctly. So like something got on him where he wrote a couple of different Axeslasher style skeletons with Easy Drummer and just recorded it in Audacity. And he sent that to me.
Audacity.
Right, exactly.
The audacity to
The
use Audacity. Get out of here.
And he sent me the first version, which was basically all the riffs in the demo that you're mixing now, but it was much shorter in the way that it was like arranged was much like, it was like a minute and a half or something. So I took that and I re-recorded it just like the same riffs that he had. I re-recorded those riffs and
But that was you playing.
rearranged it
Okay,
on the
that's
second
what it was.
version.
I knew
Yeah.
because I felt you in it.
Yeah.
So okay, it was your playing.
So on the
That's what it
second
was.
version, where I like kind of like figured out the song a little better of like, okay, well this doesn't have any verses, it doesn't have any choruses, like how's this actually going to work if I'm going to do vocals on top of it? So I re-recorded all the riffs, redid the drums in Easy Drummer, and kind of like put it together and sent it to him, and we worked it out of like.
Wow, this is great.
So he was
to
like,
hear
"Yeah,
all
he's like, this is exactly what I was hoping for. Like, I didn't think that what I did was going to be the original thing. Is just this is like kickstarting the
Well,
process."
So you did to him what I eventually did to you.
Yes.
Like that's great. That's
Yeah.
why it's a great song.
Exactly.
This is the first time, by the way, this is the first time I've ever quote unquote produced
Yes.
outside of my own band. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate you giving me the trust to do
No,
that.
well, thanks for actually like putting effort into it instead of just saying sounds good. Let's move forward. You know what I mean? Like you actually took it, and so I sent Patrick something that I was super excited about, and
He sent me a demo of the new Axeslasher song as an MP3, and which I loved. But yeah, I just felt an itch. I was like, oh, this part is so good. It needs to go on longer. This is like because you were saying this is song, like you said something like this is written specifically for live. Like this is built just for that. So I was like, okay, so and I've seen you live several times. But here's the thing, you've never seen you live. So
I've seen video.
that doesn't count.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I've seen you live several times. So I was like, this riff needs to go on longer, and this needs to go on longer, and this needs to be. So yeah, basically all I did was extend certain parts and kind of add some melodies and stuff. And
You get the core of Axeslasher though, which is a young kid who wants to play guitar should be able to play what we write. Like that's a big part of it to me is that.
oh yeah, well, you know what it comes down to? Even my shit, I'm starting to realize the more I write songs, the more you write songs, we all come down to these like, almost like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you kind of melodies
Yeah.
of all our riffs. It's just these little earworm melodies that are somewhat evil but are cute and fun. Like
Yeah.
you could immediately translate like your riffs to like 8-bit or something.
Yeah.
And make them adorable.
100%. Yeah, that's not a mistake either. Well, there's a lot of like underlying ideals I think that inform that. Like one of them being that like a young kid about the age I was when I started playing guitar should be able to pick these up and learn them the same way that I picked up a Metallica album.
Yeah, the melodies that you write for solos and stuff would be the kind of thing that a kid would want to like learn on guitar. That they'd make them want to pick up a guitar.
Well, I do want like that is becoming something that I find important is like I keep meeting so many young people who like look at guitar playing as like an ancient, like you know what I mean, like or they look at it as like like it's like a lost art and everyone what I mean.
Yeah, it kind of is becoming. But the kids that dive into it, they're so much more adept than
And there's
we
so much
are.
more available to them too to like become adept, which I'm not knocking anyone for, but like
It's because of Guitar Hero that the guitar stopped being a thing. You know, now they're trying to say in the media like guitar is dying as an art. And like, I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. Do you believe that?
I don't know if I believe it. I do, like, there's weird circumstantial evidence that keeps like coming to me that gives me that feeling. One of them is like the other guys in Axeslasher, they work for pretty prominent like live music promoters, so every night they're at a different show essentially, so they meet a lot of different people, but they also, you know, they're good promoters. They talk about being an Axeslasher if they talk to someone for like more than 5 minutes, and they have countless stories of young kids saying things like, whoa, wait, you're in like a band that plays live and like you guys use guitars and stuff? I've never seen that before.
What?
You see what I'm saying? Like that's
Okay, so
and
it's,
then other things like if you
it's
pull
generational.
out, you pull out like a keyboard in an airport and a laptop, like everyone will stop and be like, oh man, are you making beats? That's so fucking cool. You whip out a guitar in an airport, people are gonna ask you to fucking leave. Well, remember when you first started playing guitar, how hard it was to get a guitar tone that sounded anything
Yes.
like any record you've ever listened to?
Yes, and now I'm Colin Richardson on the reg just because of free plugins. Yeah, it's insane. It's an embarrassment of riches now.
Yes.
And most people don't
It
even
really
know
is.
how to use it. But yeah, it is.
I'm calling it. There's going to be a guitar player in the next 5 years, maybe even less,
The prophesied
that
one.
doesn't bring a rig on stage and not even an Axe Effects. Brings a laptop, an interface, and uses like Reaper with Fortin and a bunch of other different
Well,
plugins.
I absolutely believe that, but you're saying though, like within the realms of metal or something.
Yeah, in metal,
Yeah,
like
okay.
in
That's different.
in a like image-driven
pop.
genre like metal. We're
Right.
gonna see, like we already have Periphery and Rivers and Nile who have their laptops like in full view on the stage, and you can see like the track switching and shit like that happening, which is fine. I saw them with Exhumed, and Rivers of Nile sounded exactly like listening to a CD. And if I was one of their fans, I would have been like so fucking excited, I'm sure. But then Exhumed came out, and they didn't even fucking have like internal click tracks. They were just fucking going ham. And I had so much goddamn fun watching them. It's like, but it's apples and oranges. It's like a completely different thing.
Yeah, it's maybe. I think maybe that's part of the new thing is that I think people just allow things to be in their own lane. Like if it's this kind of band, we'll allow it to be this, and we won't judge it that way. But
Yeah.
if it's this kind of band, like for example, if it's like a metalcore band, we expect it to be super fakey and overproduced and like super quantized, which is fine because it's like part of that genre.
Yeah.
But then, which is fine. But then also, as long as you respect something like Impaled and Exhumed,
Yeah.
where they are like, then that is allowed to be the way it is, where it's not quantized and kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
As long as people see it that way, then I think that's kind of a good way to go. And
I'm not sure they do though. I think that they add demerits to not playing to a click track or other things that like the not sloppiness but the rough edges that make the genre interesting sometimes, and like sometimes where people's brilliance is found, like
Right.
Suicidal Tendencies
Exactly.
guitar
Yeah, yeah.
solos, right? Those guitar
man,
solos are
Rocky
kind of like
George, oh boy.
they're on their own. If you isolated them, they'd be kind of a chore to listen to. But but fucking in Suicidal Tendencies, you can't imagine different solos, you know. So it's like there's something to that, and that's something that I like for this new Axeslasher song. I kept putting into people's head is like, don't worry about being perfect. Worry about feeling confident about the fucking like performance.
I would be perfectly comfortable listening to different Axeslasher albums that had different lineups. Like, I don't care. Like, just as long as I know, oh, this guy on this album played this way, and this
Yeah.
guy on this album played this way. But the whole thing would still be your vision. That's kind of how I actually like hearing different players within someone's vision. You know, like,
It's interesting. Like that's a holy representation of this new song because, like I said, I didn't write any of those riffs. They were Alex's riffs that I like just rearranged in a bunch of different ways. And then when you entered your arrangement into the mix, it became like a three-way negotiation where I'm the ultimate decider because I'm the director on this thing. But I want to like. I worked it out. Like I didn't just make the decision, you know. I went to Alex too, and I was like, "Check this shit out," and he got more and more excited about it. So, which in turn got him getting other people excited about it too in the band. So that like all of a sudden now I've got
everyone contributing to your vision.